Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making a Vietnamese coffee chocolate swirl semifreddo. And a semifreddo means half frozen in Italian. Now, let me talk about frozen desserts for a minute. Frozen desserts, there are two types. There are churn frozen. Those are the things like ice cream, gelato, sorbets, things like that. They need an ice cream maker, so they're constantly moving while the custard freezes. We are going to be making what's known as a still frozen dessert. So everything is going to lie still in the freezer. And we don't even have to worry about an ice cream maker. It's so easy. So I thought it'd be really cool to sort of mimic the Vietnamese coffee, yum, 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 and put a little chocolate swirl in there. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to prep our pan. I have a loaf pan. This is a 9 by 5 by 3-inch loaf pan. And I've lined it first with a folded piece of either wax paper or parchment paper, and I put that down the long way, and I leave tails to come off because I want to be able to pull it out when I'm ready. And then I've lined the inside of that with plastic wrap. That's it. No greasing, nothing. And just leave it. This is part of our mise en place, getting everything ready in its place. In a big bowl, I have 3 tablespoons of instant espresso powder. And I want to really give that shot of coffee. And I'm just going to rehydrate it with about 2 teaspoons of water. Right? A teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And if you can find Vietnamese cinnamon, even better. That would be wonderful. And I'm just going to sort of, I like to sort of whirl it around. I don't know if you can see it, but the smells just whirling around this beautiful espresso powder, the cinnamon and the vanilla and a little bit of water just makes that syrup, that coffee cinnamon syrup that's going to flavor our semifreddo. Next thing I'm going to do, ooh, I just got a beautiful aroma, whiff of that. Oh, you are delicious. And I'm going to take a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk and pour that right in. Ooh. And you know what sweetened condensed milk is? I don't think everybody knows what it is. It's actually whole milk that has been evaporated. So 60% of the water is removed from it. That's why it's so luxurious and you almost want to bathe in it. It's so beautiful. And it's been sweetened, so it's very, very sweet. Just remember that. We're not adding any more sugar to this semifreddo except this sweetened condensed milk. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about when you make a still frozen dessert or a churn frozen dessert is you want to sweeten it. You want to add sugar. And I'm just mixing this now. If you don't add sugar, it's going to freeze as hard as an ice cube. And it won't taste very good. It won't have that wonderful mouthfeel. So we add this sweetened condensed milk because sugar, a lot of sugar, actually depresses the freezing point of water. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, so it actually lowers that freezing point and it stays softer in a frozen state. So it's going to be more scoopable or sliceable. In our case, when we freeze our semifreddo, it will never freeze as hard as a rock. So that's one part. The next part of our semifreddo and the last part, I have 2 cups of chilled heavy cream, and I'm using my whip attachment, and I'm doing my little MacGyver thing so I don't get this all over my kitchen. I'm just going to put my kitchen towel over it, and I'm going to let it rip. You want firm heat. You really want a lot of air. Remember, a churn frozen dessert has the ice cream maker to sort of add air into the ice cream base or the custard. We don't have that here. We're actually making a frozen dessert that actually just sort of lies still. That's still frozen dessert. Don't overmix, so we can take a look. Not yet. Keep going. So the still frozen dessert needs some air in it to give it some softness and some luxuriousness so that we really get that fluffiness of a real ice cream texture, and the whipped cream is going to do it. All right, we are there. So this is what you want to get. All right, you have that beautiful, beautiful, luxurious whipped cream. And then I'm going to show you something that I call, I don't know if any of you are Star Trek fans, but I call it the Mr. Spock method of mixing. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I must get a whisk. Excuse me. So I have a whisk. I'm going to get rid of my rubber spatula for a minute, but it's coming back. Don't worry, it's not going far. And I'm going to do, isn't that glorious? I'm going to take a dollop of the whipped cream and I'm going to just add it right into the sweetened condensed milk, and I'm going to whisk it. And you're like, but woman, you just put all the air into the whipped cream. What are you doing? Well, Mr. Spock used to say, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So we just took a few bits of this whipped cream and we're lightening. Look how glorious that is, that we're lightening this beautiful, heavy sweetened condensed milk, right? And now we're going to take the rest of our whipped cream and we put our whisk away. No more whisking. All right. That little bit of whipped cream was enough to lighten that beautiful sweetened condensed milk and coffee and cinnamon mixture. So now all we have to do is fold. All right, I'm going to get this out of the way so you can see that. So Mr. Spock knew what he was talking about. So look what I'm doing. I'm folding. So you want to take the bowl and rotate it one way while you go down the center and up over. You don't want to get rid of those beautiful air bubbles, but you do want them to blend in. All right, and I have my pan ready to go. I also have half a cup of chocolate sauce or ganache, your choice. You can buy store-bought chocolate sauce. You don't want it hot, but you want it sort of drizzleable. That's not even a word. Something that you can sort of take a spoon and drizzle a bit of the chocolate over, because we want to make swirls. So I'm still going, right? And take your time with this, but don't go too slow. You just want to make sure that you don't see any blobs of whipped cream. I'm just going around, and I'm just going to scrape the whipped cream that's on here off. And there's no egg in here. There's nothing raw, so if somebody decides after we put it into our prepared loaf pan, if they want to lick the bowl, it's okay. No raw egg to worry about. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get our pan, and this is where the fun comes in. So bring the kids, bring anybody that wants to help you out. If you want to come on over, I have beautiful, this is ganache, because I always have ganache around. And if it's been in your freezer, because it is freezerable, I know that is a word, you can actually put it in the microwave for a little bit. So I'm going to put a layer, and you don't have to be exact, just put a layer of your glorious whipped mixture. And if you see a little bit of the whipped cream, don't worry, it's fine. Okay. And then I'm going to take a little bit of ganache, and I'm just going to drizzle, 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 just like that. All right, not too much. And then I'm going to put a little bit more on top. All right, you see where I'm going with this? We're just layering. It doesn't have to be 3 or 4 times, is just as long as the mixture lasts and you have chocolate sauce. If you wanted to add other things to this, you could add nuts, you could add anything you really want. Crushed cookies, crushed biscotti, that would be good. Semifreddo does mean half frozen in Italian. All right, so I just have that. And if you don't use up the entire half a cup, don't worry about it. More for some other time, right? I'm just gonna, and you see how fluffy this is? This is actually going to create that ice creamy texture, but without churning it. Without churning it like you would in an ice cream maker. So don't worry if you don't have an ice cream maker. This is a very, very neat thing to do. More chocolate sauce. Ooh, look at that. I love doing that. I love it, love it, love it. All right, now we're gonna end with the top. All right. It's a big bowl. And I'm just gonna spread it. And this is what I'm gonna end with over here, just so you can see it. And I'm just gonna spread it nice and smooth. If you wanna make another additional chocolate sauce layer, by all means, do not let me stop you. Don't mind if I do. Okay. Now at this point, I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to do a down the length and go down and around and down and then out and then maybe in the mouth. And then I'm going to take my plastic wrap, put it over sort of in a tight way, over. And then I'm going to push this down ever so gently. And this is going to go right now in my freezer. And you're going to leave it overnight. You're not going to put it in. Just for an hour or two. You really want it to get nice and firm. All right? All right. So nice and tight. And I actually have one that I have taken out of the loaf pan. And you want to leave it in your fridge in the loaf pan for about 30 minutes. It'll soften up real nice. All right, and I'll show you what it... Now this is more of a formal way to present it in a true Semifreddo fashion. Let me show you what this looks like. So we're going to slice it. Do you see that? Do you see that? And if you wanted to, as you keep going, you're going to get different patterns of that beautiful, beautiful chocolate sauce. I got to try it. Just bear with me. Got to try it. So we got the Vietnamese theme going on. We have the chocolate sauce. We have the coffee. I would smell what I make first. Oh my goodness. You would never guess that this was not real ice cream, you know, like real, true, churned frozen ice cream. I'm talking with my mouth full. Oh my gosh, it's so creamy. You gotta try this. I hope you become a subscriber. I'm gonna go finish that piece of Semifreddo. See you later.